Hey Jason,
Hey,
how
how's
you
it going?
doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. We're at the Excel Centre in London.
Reset Connect.
Yeah. Tell me what you're looking forward to seeing today.
There's a couple of carbon footprinting talks. Also, Hannah's hosting a talk on hosting a panel discussion on running a purpose-led business. So really looking forward to those. But to be honest, I'm not really here for to be talk. I'm here to just kind of walk around, get to know people, meet some connections that I've made virtually, meet some new connections, and just see where it takes me. Really.
Yeah. Is there anyone specific that you're really excited to see?
Um, Not really. No, I was really keen to see Kate Raworth's keynote this morning on donut economics. That was really inspiring talk, kind of just talking about the kind of donut model and examples of it and why it's needed. But yeah, I'm kind of here to just kind of meet all connections that I've made so far and to make new ones.
Okay. So let's talk more about you. What exactly do you do?
So I run a social enterprise called Etrify, and we do carbon footprint calculations for small businesses. We facilitate a service called a carbon sprint, which is basically a really simple three-step process to calculate company emissions. So we do a workshop where we go in and we explain a bit about carbon footprint and net zero, and we map out the company's value chain. Then we help out with the data collection process. We'll work directly with the company. We'll help them gather the data that they need, that we need to calculate their carbon footprint. And then it's just a case of using that data to go away and calculate the carbon footprint and write a report for them in line with the GHG protocol. And we'll give them reduction recommendations and stuff like that.
Wow, that actually sounds like a lot, right? So, what's something that you've been really excited about this week that you've been working on?
So there's actually something that we've launched yesterday, which we're announcing here at Reset Connect, which is a free email course that basically introduces companies to net zero. It's really quick, really easy. It takes 20 minutes total, spread across 3 videos over 3 days, and it basically covers topics on just the basics of net zero, what it means, the difference between carbon neutral and net zero, why net zero is important. So there's a piece on climate science and also the benefits of net zero. Then in the next day, we go into a bit more detail on carbon footprint, and we go into the GHG protocol and explain a bit about scopes 1, 2, and 3 and give some examples. And then in the last day, we give some kind of practical steps on what companies can take to actually just get started on net zero right away. So things like changing your bank accounts, changing your pensions, thinking about buying secondhand rather than buying new, that kind of stuff. So yeah, really excited to be launching that this week, and just hoping to get as many businesses as possible getting started on their net zero journey.
Yeah. Enough about work. What do you do outside of work for fun?
So I've got quite a lot of hobbies that I do badly. I'm really into
Fine.
music. That's like my biggest hobby. So I used to play piano when I was younger. Self-taught myself guitar badly. Now I kind of DJ as a hobby as well, but again do that quite badly. Yeah.
What type of music do you do?
Lots to be honest, like house, techno, club music. Also like kind of disco, funky stuff
What's your
like that
favorite
as well.
house DJ?
There's too many. There's a techno DJ called Hi who she had a residency at a club called Phonox in Brixton, and I used to when I moved to London. I used to live about a 20-minute bus away from there, so we went and saw her when she was kind of like really small, and now she's kind of blown up, got really massive. So it was quite cool to see her
Yeah.
in her early days.
It's very interesting. I hope to see you at a house party one day.
Well, me and some friends are actually hosting a club night in October, so
Okay.
it's kind of like my alter ego outside of outside of business
Okay.
is music.
Fair enough. I think we can speak after this, and I'll probably invite you to one of the clubs that I normally go to. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you some really quick questions now, right?
Mhm.
I want fast answers,
Yeah.
right? What's your favorite brand to shop from?
Uh,
Yeah, think about it. Where do you normally buy your clothes?
so I just buy my clothes from Vinted, to be honest.
What's your favorite podcast? What podcast you listen to right now?
I don't listen to podcasts.
Okay. What's your favorite book then?
My favorite book, I read a book called Utopia for Realists.
Then one charity that you donate to.
So we've just formed a partnership with B1G1, and as part of our email course, we've got a kind of referral system embedded in there. So every time someone refers someone to our course, we donate to social impact projects with B1G1.
Describe yourself in one word.
A visionary.
Thing that inspires you.
Female founders.
Favorite plant or flower? We're here by the trees. Feel like I had to ask that.
So there's a plant called Maranta.
Okay. What's the greenest thing that you do at home?
Probably cycle. Cycle everywhere. I cycled part way here to the XL today.
Almost at the end of the 17 questions. I want to ask you, what's the biggest thing that's happened to you this month? Not just at work, but like in your life.
So I did have one prepared for work. We we had a new contract signed last week and secured quite a significant bit of income for July, which I'm really excited about. It's my first work on sustainability strategy and net zero strategy and stuff like that, so that's really exciting. And the second is I just got back from a trip to Tuscany. It was my first time abroad in 3 years, so it was really nice to get away with some friends and just take a bit of a step down and relax.
Yeah, that is actually really big. Okay, what does sustainability mean to you? That's a big question, so I need to take some time, think about it, give me a nice answer.
So for me, it's just about living within your means, and how I define that is not consuming more than you need to, not spending more than, like, not spending to excess, all of that stuff. And I know that's kind of like tricky in the society that we live in when it's kind of set up to kind of consume at all costs, but really just kind of like living within your means, whatever that means.
Yeah, okay, I love that. I'm gonna ask you one more big question. Well, maybe a few more. If you were a sustainable superhero, what would your superpower be?
So I'd have a spell that I could cast on governments to make them implement better, more bolder policies faster, because we need them.
Okay, very interesting. The question then that leads into government, right? Well, do you vote, first of all? Well, maybe I shouldn't be asking you that question.
I do, yeah.
That's good to know, right? What's one thing you tell the government to change in terms of being better, being more sustainable?
So I would get them to implement a carbon tax on transport. So I'll use my holiday as an example. I really wanted to get the train to Tuscany, but the infrastructure is just not set up for that. And even if I kind of dedicated an extra couple of days to get there, which I'm happy to do, it's just like way too expensive compared to flights. Another holiday I was looking at recently, I wanted to go to Berlin. I love Berlin. And flights are about 40 quid return, but trains were 200. And it's like we actually just decided to go away somewhere in the UK because flying isn't something that we wanted to do when we were already flying once. Yeah. Whereas a carbon tax would actually just help solve that by incentivizing people to kind of choose the greener option.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something we should like. If we're writing a letter to our MP, carbon tax should be like heading. Yeah. Give me your best advice for someone that wants to change the world. Say like I came to you and be like, Jason, what advice can you give me to change the world? I'm getting really close.
So I'd say two things. The first is don't try and do everything at once. There's a lot of issues in the world. There's a lot that needs changing, and you often, especially when you start, have all of these big ideas that you want to try and fix everything. Our first idea with Etrify was to build the next Facebook. Just didn't happen. So when we kind of pivoted to target businesses, we were like, how can we just kind of get really specific? And that's why we just chose working on carbon footprinting. There's a lot of other global issues, social and environmental, but that's kind of one thing. The second is to just keep going. It can be demotivating, it can be tough, especially in the sustainability space. You've got the kind of challenges of starting a company, and you've also got the challenges of seeing the kind of news on the climate and stuff every day. So you just got to keep pushing through it, keep working on the stuff, and just look at the small changes, look at the small progress that you're making every day, because it will eventually get compounded. And I'm not here sharing a success story. We haven't seen that kind of benefit of 2.5 years of work being compounded yet, but if I look back on where we were 6 months ago, it's like I didn't even have a network. I started building my network from January onwards. Now we're in July, and I've met loads of great people in sustainability. We've just started to make revenue this year. I think back in like April we had our first 1 grand month. In July I think we're going to have a 2 grand month. So it's not sustainable. It's not at the point where it's sustainable yet, but it's getting closer to that point. So don't compare yourself to everyone else and just keep pushing forward.
Well, Jason, thank you very much for this video. 17 questions with Jason from Etrify.
Thanks for your time.
Last words?
Keep pushing forward.
Keep pushing forward. There you go. Okay.